Hello, you're listening to the OmniTalk Fast Five, brought to you in partnership with Microsoft, the A&M Consumer and Retail Group, Takeoff, Sezzle, and Silk. All right, headline number 3, TikTok is piloting in-app commerce. According to Chain Storage, TikTok is officially testing an e-commerce feature called TikTok Shop in the US, after previously launching something by the same name in the UK and Southeast Asia. TikTok is currently limiting sales of products on TikTok Shop to invited US retailers only, but plans to enable retailers outside the US to participate in the American TikTok Shop over time. News outlet Semaphore also reports that the pilot of TikTok Shop in the US is part of a larger effort by TikTok's parent company, China-based ByteDance, to establish a robust live stream shopping business in the US, which it internally refers to as Project Aquaman.
That is Excellent. So great.
Yes. Billy, let's go to you here. Will TikTok find success in in-app shopping in the US when seemingly Instagram and Facebook have stalled on it? Or to our last headline, does the US already have its own super app and it is called Amazon?
Yeah, I think reading this story and doing a little bit of research into this, where I'm at with this is I want to know more. I think there are the seeds of some things that could be really innovative, and I think futurists have been talking to the possibilities here for some time. But is TikTok Shop going to somehow, some way be linked to the content on the app? So in other words, I'm looking at an influencer and I'm able to say, "Ooh, I like that shirt. I want to buy that shirt." Is that where this is going, or is this just another marketplace? If it's just another marketplace, I think the road to success is very steep for them and very rocky. But if somehow they're able to bring in that experience of the content and the shopping, I think that is a massive unlock. I don't know how they would do that, frankly, but if they're able to do that, I think that there's something really big there. I think also, as part of this, if I'm QVC and HSN, I'm paying attention. Because they're the pioneers of the live streaming shopping experience, and their customer is as much involved with tech and their tech as somebody who's on TikTok. So I hope they're paying attention too, because I think that the applications here could be significant.
Chris, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I would emphasize what Billy said and add to it. Like, I don't actually, as he's talking, I'm sitting here thinking, I don't think this has a chance in hell of working, because the US retailers are going to be smart about how they put content in social media. It goes back to what Vincent Yang at Firework has told us time and time again. Like, the retailers are going to take control of it through shoppable video, and they're going to put that content on their sites, and then they're going to farm it out to the social media networks, which directs the traffic back to them. That's how this is going to play out. So to the point, it's just going to become another marketplace. And if it's just another marketplace, we all have that already, and it's called Amazon. So, I just don't see it. And that's, government fears aside around TikTok too. I just don't see it happening right now. And it's also, the other point I make too, it's not good for Facebook either, but that's a whole nother side tangent that we don't need to go down. But that's my opinion. Like, I wouldn't bet on this right now. I don't think it's going to work.
Okay. I know I might have some scenarios to run by you, but Jonathan, what are your consumer sentiments that you've been doing over the last several months? What are they telling you about live shopping, and what do you think about this story?
Yeah, well, here's another point actually to add to this kind of skepticism. Very hot off the press, published yesterday. We looked at, we always ask about consumers' use of channels. And social commerce, of all channels options that we give, social commerce saw the biggest fall in a 6-month period. In fact, it halved in popularity amongst our respondents. It moved from being in the top 5 ranking of channel choice to number 11 out of 12.
Wow.
And I think there are some underlying economic reasons behind that, which is the consumer is continuing to retrench into basic needs. And, you can't buy your gas and groceries over Insta. By their very nature, social commerce products tend to be very discretionary, somewhat indulgent. And so it's failing. It's really suffering in this economic environment. Couple of other points on this specific. I think TikTok is probably one of the hardest channels to do this, which is that users on TikTok really value authenticity. And it's a very difficult media to interrupt. I'm struggling with that kind of sort of technical, kind of getting in the flow kind of aspect. The only other thing I'd say is it does highlight one of Amazon's weaknesses, which is Amazon is still not social, right? It's very functional. You know, they tried that, what was it, that sort of shop along with me on the summer Prime Day on Twitch, you know, should I choose this or this? And you get your friends involved. But they've really only dipped their toe in it. And so it is interesting that people keep kind of coming at them from the social aspect. And I do think that is a vulnerability of Amazon. We called it America's Mall. It is, but it doesn't have the coffee shops and the Dunkin' and the places to hang out. It's kind of boring. It's a boring mall. So
it has the movies.
Remains.
It does. That's its ended around on the social media play is the streaming and the NFL package and stuff like that. But Anne, what do you think?
I think the things that
play devil's advocate. I know you want to.
I think the things that we're missing here are, one, that I agree, Jonathan, like authenticity is important, but you also want the option. And right now, TikTok is doing this. They partnered with Shopify a while back, and they are allowing, especially those smaller to medium-sized businesses, to enable transactions, you know, in Shopify or taking them directly to their Shopify stores, which I think makes sense here. We are forgetting about the very powerful nature of influencer marketing, especially for those local boutiques, like the smaller businesses that leverage this platform as their number one source of marketing. This is how they're getting their products out there. They're using localized micro influencers to help build this audience. And so I do think that this makes sense there. I agree with what Chris, you were saying, like for larger retailers, I don't think this is going to make a dent, and therefore will it make a big enough dent in TikTok and commerce and TikTok overall, because they're still going to use TikTok as a traffic driver, these larger brands, but they're going to be more focused on bringing consumers directly to their own sites. The last point I would make is now the e-com fulfillment centers that TikTok is opening makes so much more sense to me. I'm curious to hear what you guys think, but I think now that we're seeing like TikTok's, you know, abroad influencers, content creators cannot ship product over here. They cannot take part in this yet. There's going to be a lot of like careful regulation around what they can import into the US. And so I think that what we're going to see here is exactly what Tony Shan of Alibaba is doing with Tmall, where they're creating consolidated distribution centers. They're allowing these overseas manufacturers to hold product here so that when they flip the switch and start letting those international retailers be on the platform, they have like quick distribution there. And that's how TikTok's going to kind of, make some cash here, really get into the commerce market. But Billy, you've been nodding along for a while. So wrap us up here.
So I'll give you one thing I like and one thing that I don't like. The one thing I do like is that in the spirit of meeting customers where they are, this does do that, right? If somebody is on TikTok and spending a lot of time on TikTok, there is a demographic that you are meeting where they are, which I think is only a good thing. The thing I don't like, and I'm actually gonna counterpoint to what you were just talking about in terms of the distribution center, I actually don't like that play. And I don't like it because they're not a distribution company. They're a tech company. I would much rather them be a conduit to it than otherwise. And you think about the idea of the micro influencers, things like that as well, and using more localized sources. I think that routing it to them for fulfillment for them, there's a value if I'm a small regional or just a one shingle store of fulfilling that order and creating that customer connection that gets robbed from me if I'm not the one handling that. And so I actually don't like the fact that they're investing in distribution centers. I really would much rather see them stick to their guns as a tech play.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. That was kind of our thought. That was my thoughts last week. Anne's playing the contrarian. And we were joking, for those listening. We were joking beforehand on the show, like who was going to play the contrarian card here amongst the four of us. And I think Anne wins it on TikTok. Anne's continuing to take the contrarian stance on TikTok against our prevailing thoughts here.